watching Super City.
The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
Hey everybody, it's DDJ and the Premier Joey K here. You guys might notice that we are one person down, and that is because our resident hot one, Jovanny Hotty, decided to go ahead and get on a boat. So while he's sitting around drinking Pina Coladas and getting caught in the rain and stuff, just word of warning, Jovan. Actually, you know what? Not a word of warning. If this happens, no sweat off my back, no sweat off Joey K's back. Just try to stay away from them 3-hour tours. And that's so going to be a little bit of a quick show tonight and stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about Dynamite. We're going to talk about a big signing for Ring of Honor, and then we're going to get right into previewing Death Before Dishonor. So, Joey K, what do you say? Let's get episode 45 of this show going.
Let's rock and fucking roll.
Yes, it is us. We are the two-man power trip today. We are going to do the work of 3 men tonight. We're both taking on. We're both going to fill in, do our best to fill that void that Jovanny Hotty left, because again, he's somewhere out in the middle of some ocean and stuff. Just hopefully he doesn't get locked behind another forbidden door.
It's a pretty big, sexy void to fill, but I think we're up for the challenge.
I think you're being a little too generous with that sexy comment.
Well, wait till the fans get a load of him when he comes back. We'll leave that for a surprise.
Oh yeah, a little bit of a teaser for episode 46. Tune in to see the all new Jovanny Hotty.
Yep.
If that doesn't bring in the viewers, I don't know what will.
I don't know either, man. The floodgates will open when he returns.
Yeah, so
he's absolute man dime, fresh off the boat.
And for our lady shooters out there, he is single.
Oh yeah. Look him up.
So slide into his DMs. So. All right, so again, this is gonna probably be a little bit on the shorter side of an episode, so let's get right into it. Dynamite happened last night. Of course, we're gonna talk about that main event and how, but just a few. Joey and I were talking before we started recording how it kind of, I think, fell a bit flat and stuff. But there are some other things coming up that happened on the show, and I think the one big thing that really come out of this is the return of Jungle Boy. What did you think?
I mean, inevitable. The only thing I thought was really kind of weird was like this whole Luchasaurus flip-flopping deal. Like, I'm like, okay, pick a side, Chief. Let's figure out what you're gonna do.
Well, we'll see with that. And this was my take, because one of my group chats I'm in, my friends were talking about and saying that was the shortest heel turn ever. I don't necessarily think that Luchasaurus necessarily turned babyface again. For all we know, and I wouldn't put it past, this Christian character, that was by design, that like to kind of maybe swerve, lull Jungle Boy into a false sense of security. I wouldn't be surprised if this is all a ruse. I mean,
it could be. It could be. I mean, this feud's been building for the better part of 8 months.
Really, you could even go farther than that. You can basically go to what was it? I think it was last Double or Nothing from last year when Christian Cage was the last one thrown out from by Jungle Boy in the Casino Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, that had to have been last. It was when Kenny Omega was still the champion, I believe. So maybe it might have been almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean it's been some time, and it's been a slow burn. It's been a slow build. I just want to finally get a little bit of payoff here, see something. So having Jungle Boy like return last night was good. I was hoping for a little bit darker, a little edgier Jungle Boy. Something, we still got Baltimore music. We still got, the same overall look. I mean, he was in street clothes, of course, but
he had a little bit of facial hair.
Yeah, so I'm more interested to see what the next stop is. We got the big return, the big pop, the chase off. Okay, cool. Now where do we go from there? Because I think we've both said it. This Christian Cage character recently has been on fire. Probably the best heel in the entire roster of AEW right now. With the absence of MJF, I mean, Christian Cage has been just destroying on the mic, which is really great. So I'm anxious to see where this goes from here. So now that we have the return, but that was interesting. Overall, I mean, the show was pretty good. The best promo of the night, FTR. I mean, that was,
and I know, and I saw your, and I don't know if you want to it's up to you, but I know that really hit home with you.
Yeah, it did. My daughter had heart issues when we lost her. So to me, it was like, yeah, it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't want to dive too much into it, of course, but
and I apologize for kind of putting you on.
No, it's cool. It's totally cool. I don't want to dive too deep into it or anything like that, but kind of keep the show flowing here a little bit. But that was the kind of promo that's man, you talk about like having realism in what you talk about in the ring. Mm-hmm. These guys, they're real people. They're not just characters. They're very real people with real families and real problems and issues and things like that. And the shirt though, that was the big thing too. Like I love the shirt. I don't know if anybody has saw it. I'm actually bringing it up right now. The fight like an 8-year-old girl shirt.
That was a really, really cool shirt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, God, I'm going to say it. I have not been the biggest fan of pro wrestling tees lately and how much money you have to spend just to support, or show some love to one of your favorite performers out there because I think they're ridiculously overpriced and expensive. But that's a shirt 100% I'll be buying no matter what, because it's good. I know the money is going to the American Heart Association, I believe. Yeah. I think is correct.
Something like that, yeah. And it's a good cause. Like I normally don't buy white T-shirts because I'm always afraid they're so easy to get messy. So, but that's actually one that I'm probably gonna get as well too because it's a great shirt. Supports a great cause. I know that, like I said, it means so much to you. So in a way, not only am I supporting, the American Heart Association, I'm supporting my friend here too.
Yeah, and I know, and that was the biggest thing to me. Like it just really hit home to me. I know I saw so many people commenting about it, and it was just like, man, just bathed in such reality. Because we've talked about how hyped this match is. We'll talk about it shortly here. The this rematch, FTR versus the Briscoes, 2 out of 3 falls. And I know we're super excited for that match, and we've said how's it going to live up to the first one. The first one was instant classic. and a great match.
I believe it was when we did our mid-year awards a couple weeks ago was my pick for match of the year. So
yeah. And I mean, one of the reasons I had FTR I think we all had FTR as our tag team of the year so far. You know, so that was a big thing. That was a big one. But you know, like, how do you top that? And God, if you don't think FTR is having the best year ever, I mean, to come out, you know, I know Cash started and Cash said, you know, I don't think I'm ever gonna get used to that reaction.
Yeah.
Dude, the crowd is 100% behind them.
They are over. They are as over as anybody in professional wrestling right now.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could be as over as FTR is right now. But you know, I like where it started. And then Dax taking it home and just bringing that dose of reality. And you know, like let's talk about it. Like they have this great feud. They're building off of an amazing first match. Mm-hmm. So now, perfect storytelling. You're dumping this great dose of reality into it. If you're not invested in that match this weekend, I mean, I don't know how you're a wrestling fan, a fan of tag team wrestling, a fan of anything. I mean, it just, I mean, I was sold. Of course, you know, I'm personally invested in it because of the content that was said last night. But, you know, outside of that, just as on the outside as a wrestling fan, it's going to be a classic match. Looking at it deeper, it's just, wow. I mean, I was blown away. So, you know, props to FTR. They're having such a great year. You know, those guys are absolutely on fire. So that was a big one. That was one of the highlights of the night for me. Another highlight, Brody King, Darby Allin.
My God, that was so good.
Those two, you know, for people who don't know, or for the casual fans, the people who only really follow AEW, haven't, you know, still don't really know much of Brody King since he's still a relative newcomer to AEW, I would say. You know, him and Darby have been going back and forth with this feud. I know it made like mainstream news when Brody attacked Darby at the autograph signing thing.
Yeah.
But you know, if you followed along like the past few years, these guys feuding, of course, outside of AEW,
like in the Northwest, primarily, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've had some classic matches on and off, like, and it's that perfect like David versus Goliath setup, you know, because there's such a huge difference in size when you look at Brody and you look at Darby. Ironically enough, you just know they're such good friends outside of the business and outside of the story. You know, there's been so many times where you've seen Brody King on Darby Allin's, you know, Instagram stories or videos that he's making and stuff like that, where, you know, they're out there in the backyard, like lighting cars on fire, that crazy stuff that Darby does. When Brody tossed Darby into the crowd during a concert, that was great. You know, things like that. Like, you know, these guys, when guys are friendly like that, they're gonna work great together.
And you know, they're gonna take care of each other as well too.
Exactly. You know, the Battle Royale, the number one contender match.
Yeah.
That, you know, that finish I loved. I loved having Brody choke Darby out and then drop him off the apron. I thought it was a great finish, really classic. And of course, it built up to this. You know, Brody had the match against Mox, which is a really good match, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Real good, strong match, strong style match, I should say. And then having this feud continue, and now you're interjecting Sting, Malachi Black. I mean, I like that. So I thought that was a classic match. But what brought the whole night down was the main event. I hate to say it, as much as I enjoy watching Chris Jericho and I really enjoy watching Eddie Kingston. AEW is very hit or miss with their gimmick matches, I think.
You know, before we talk about the main event, a couple things I want to kind of throw in there, because I echo a lot of the sentiments that you just brought up. one thing that really stuck with me from last night's show, just how goddamn good Ricky Starks is, and how much and he keeps getting better and better.
I shouldn't have
I mean,
skipped that.
his Danhausen impersonation last night had me rolling.
That was good. That was really good, actually.
And he is just killing on the mic. Like this guy, and I remember seeing him when he started kind of gaining some steam when he was in the NWA. I believe he's a former television champion there and stuff. And I was like, he's got something, but man, he's just turned it up a notch or two.
And talk about a guy just coming into his own.
Yeah, really is. And then that match that he had with Cole Carter, I believe is his name, who used to be like Two Dimes or whatever, as part of the D'Angelo family, was a really entertaining match. And I believe I don't think I think he's got a tiered contract, but he's on his way to Cole Carter is on his way to becoming all elite. And like I said, he had a really nice showing, and obviously this is probably not going to be the last we see of him on AEW. And then the other thing I like too was I really liked the tag match with Best Friends against Mox and Wheeler. I thought that was a really good story they told about how Wheeler, left the Best Friends to join up with the BCC, and you could definitely see like the emotions coming into play, especially with I believe it was Trent and Wheeler, because I know back when they were all best friends, Trent was kind of like, I guess you could say, mean to Wheeler. Didn't like him being in the group. So you kind of liked how they went to there and stuff. And I mean, it was a really entertaining tag team match. But yeah, that I know there's announcements for some stuff next week and stuff. But man, though, you started talking about it. Let's get into that main event. It was hyped up, but this was kind of it just fell flat.
Yeah, it did. I just, it's so hit or miss when they do these gimmick matches like this. And this is the second barbed wire death match that has just fallen flat.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it because I like the guys involved in it. The first one was Omega and Mox.
Yep.
This one now Jericho and Kingston. This goes into what we talked about earlier tonight too. Does every AEW Dynamite need to be a gimmick show? Does it need to be Fyter Fest? Does it need to be Fight for the Fallen? Does it need to be whatever they're going to call it? I don't really care. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't really hype up the show. It's just AEW Dynamite. It's Wednesday Night Dynamite. It's 2 hours on Wednesday night of watching pro wrestling. I don't need the gimmicks. I don't need the bullshit. I don't need a barbed wire death match. I mean, honestly, there was no way that match was going to top Kingston Jericho at was Revolution. That at Revolution? Yeah. I mean, that was a great match.
It was.
I love that match. And this match just felt like nothing in comparison. And the bullshit finish, Jericho Appreciation Society getting out of the cage, squeezing through the bars and shit. Like we were just talking about that too. Like, come on, man. Like I said to you earlier, might as well have RoboCop come down and rip the door off.
There was one newsworthy thing that came out of that, and that was the shocking heel turn of Anna Jay.
Is it shocking? Is it shocking? She needs something to do. The Dark Order's over. That's pretty much done at this point. There's no TV time. There's no real direction. There's no relevancy to it. And half the Dark Order is not even under contract with AEW anymore. So, it's like, I kind of see it happening. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't surprised. I was like, oh, okay. Just another part of the story. Let's keep it going. But, that's the other thing with these Jericho groups. They build them up so big. Like, that's too big of a faction, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You have 6 guys and 2 women.
Yep.
You have 8 total people in this faction. I mean,
they still got a long ways to go to catch the NWO.
Well, but look, that's different. that's a different take because everybody wanted in the NWO because that was the only cool thing happening in WCW at the time. That was the cool. I shouldn't say the only cool thing, but that was the coolest thing in WCW. If you wanted to be on TV, you had to be part of the NWO. So everybody wanted to be part of the NWO. Everybody was wearing, the black and white
or black and red.
Yeah, and like it became like it might as well just been called NWO, not WCW at that point. And really, I press you to go back, look outside of, Goldberg, Booker T, DDP. I mean, and Sting. Who else was there? I mean, those are your 4 top tier guys. I mean, sporadically people here and there, and they would either jump ship and go to NWO Black and White or Wolfpack or whatever. But either way, the Jericho thing, it just gets too big. It gets too out of hand. You knew something was going to happen, and they have just like an ugly finish, just a real wet fart finish. That was just,
And was it me? Is it me, or did it could you hear how pissed Eddie Kingston seemed to be at the end of that match?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I feel like that things weren't clicking and weren't going the way I think they intended to.
Right.
And Eddie's one of those guys, you can see his visible frustration.
Yeah.
Like he's not one of those guys that can hide it really well. And I'll use an example. I'll talk about, Randy Orton. Randy Orton, he'll show you that emotion if he's frustrated, but that's if he wants to show it.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't, even if things aren't turning out right, if the match isn't going the way it is, that's a guy who's really great at holding it back. Eddie wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a very, very, very emotional, a lot of expression. So you can see that frustration pouring out of him, I think, of how things were going. Almost to the point where my thought, and I don't know where this if holds any weight, my thought was, I don't think Eddie really agreed with how the match was going to finish. I almost feel like Eddie might have had a different idea for the finish, and they went with what they did, and Eddie was just kind of pissed about it. Maybe I don't know. That's the vibe I was getting a little bit from it. I mean, I don't know 100%, but that's just the way it came across to me.
Yeah, and yeah, it was. I think it's pretty audible. And a lot of times when I get so involved in watching the show because I'm trying to pay attention and stuff. I'll miss subtle things. That once I go back and look, it's like, oh, how did I miss that? There's no way you really could have missed that just because you could hear it. I mean, it was pretty vocal enough, like you said. Just if you were just at least paying half paying attention to the show,
yeah,
you heard that.
Yeah, and it came through. It came through in the body language. It came through audibly. It came through just in the match as a whole. So, I wasn't a huge fan of the finish. I mean, it started out pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie. It started out pretty hot, pretty violent. I was like, okay, this is going somewhere.
I love the way how it started. I will agree there.
Of course it's Eddie. So it's gonna feel like that street fight mentality anyway, which is great. Now it roped me in, but by the finish, I was just really kind of okay. Where are we going from here? What's next?
So one last thing, and then we'll move on to a couple of news bits of news here before we go to preview Death Before Dishonor. Do you feel like that there's going to be, to quote Christian, not Christian Cage, Christian from WWE, one more match between Jericho and Kingston? And if so, when and what type of match do you think it would be?
If we do have one more, which we very well might, it's probably going to be All Out. I think, and it's going to be something a little specialty where no one else can get involved. It's going to be a true one-on-one. I don't want to see another big gimmick match. I don't want to see another gang type match. I want to see something one-on-one. You know, put him in a cage, lock the top off. You know, almost like a Hell in a Cell type situation where, you know, the original thought behind Hell in a Cell was now there's a lid on the cage. There's going to be one winner. That's going to be it. And I think a scenario setup type match like that should be, if we're going to do it, I think that's what we should go with. And have it just a pure street fight, you know, let him go all out, give some of that realism, because that's where really Eddie thrives. And, you know, Jericho can play along with it. You know, he can go along with anything. Like, give me something along that. But at this point, after this finish, I don't know. Where do we go?
I feel like that there has to be a definitive finish to this feud. And I was kind of hoping that this barbed wire everywhere match was going to provide that. I don't think it did. So, yeah, I do believe there's going to be one more match. And I'm kind of with you, you know, some kind of cage match with where there's a top. So there's absolutely, like I said, no way someone can get in, because this needs to end one-on-one.
Yeah. And I think that's the only real direction it can go. No interference. I don't want to see Sammy flying in anywhere. You know, let's keep Blackpool out of it. Yeah. You know, let's just give it one-on-one. Eddie and Chris, one-on-one, some type of match that's going to keep it that way.
All right, so we're going to move on to a couple bits of news here. The first is that the main event for Ric Flair's last match, which is Ric Flair's last match, has been announced. It was announced it was going to be a tag team match. It's going to be Ric Flair teaming up with his son-in-law, Andrade El Idolo, and they're going up against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Thoughts? Obviously, I don't. You know, it's not gonna be another Flair versus Steamboat. But I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm actually glad it's a tag match, because, like, again, you and I were talking before we started recording that, you know, obviously this means, you know, Flair doesn't have to do everything, because well, let's face it, we both, you know, he's my GOAT. I know he's one of your favorites, but there's no way in hell, especially in his condition, his age, he can't do a one-on-one match.
No, I don't think so. I mean, to him, I'm sure he believes he can.
Yep.
And you'll probably he's going to get in there. He's going to take some bumps. He's going to take some spots, but the real deal is going to be Jay Lethal and Andrade carrying the majority of that match. How much is Jeff Jarrett really going to work? Because, you know, he's doing work with WWE right now. But you'll see Flair in there, you know, take a few bumps, have a couple spots here and there. I don't think anything too crazy, enough to kind of probably pop the crowd, get some, you know, get him involved in the match a little, but it's not going to be a true Flair match. You know, I think people will be watching a lot for the Flair entrance, seeing that entrance one more time. That's going to be a big part of it. How the finish is going to go, the send off to it. But yeah, I fully expect Andrade and Jay Lethal to carry a lot of that match, just because Rick, I don't think can. And now I'm not saying he's not going to work it. I think honestly, he's going to get in there and have.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You know, the trading videos, he seems to be moving pretty. I mean,
for about as well as a 70-plus-year-old man can move.
Let's be honest. How many wrestlers have we really watched wrestle in their 70s?
The only ones I can think of that I can ever say that I think I've seen in a match that were in their 70s was Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. And then the Fabulous Moolah back in like 99.
Yeah, Moolah. Vince is tough because he's not really a wrestler. I can't say. I mean, I can't really say that it's, you know. Didn't Dory Funk have? He
very well could have,
at least in his late 60s.
Right? Yeah, he very well could have.
But I don't think he did a whole hell of a lot. I want to say, my memory's probably shot on this. I want to say he teamed with Terry at some point. had a couple spots here and there, but nothing too crazy.
Maybe like Japan or something.
Yeah, so like a farewell send off type thing.
Right.
It's escaping me. I'll look it up later, but so you can't really judge like a guy working, taking bumps and working in the ring in his 70s because it's so unbelievably rare. A guy or a girl, I should say, a female. So it's hard. It's really hard to determine. I'm there for the entrance. I'm there to see. He's gonna bleed. Jesus Christ. He's gonna bleed at some point. He's already bled in their fucking build up. So
Yep.
So yeah, it's a spectacle. It's a spectacle. Will I watch it? Probably. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I want to check it out, but it's probably more so out of morbid curiosity than anything else.
Yeah, but it is Ric Flair. I know he's the GOAT for you. He's at definitely GOAT status for me. So yeah, I'll probably end up checking it out no matter what. Yeah, see what he's got left in the tank for one last ride.
Right. So a little bit of Ring of Honor news before we go on to preview the show. News broke, I believe it was yesterday, that Tony Khan has officially signed the Briscoes to be a part of Ring of Honor. I think we're both going to be in agreement with this, that this, especially, and I'll just come out and say it's about fucking time.
Yeah, I know. I think we both read the dirt sheets about, I think some of the Warner execs were very critical of signing the Briscoes for some older years gone by tweets and comments that were made, things like that. But yeah, it's about fucking time. I mean, I hate to say this, but Jesus Christ, you got guys like Austin Theory, who's been accused of certain shit. You have guys like Riddle who've been accused of certain shit. Now, I'm not saying that it's true. I'm not saying anything like that.
Innocent before they're proven guilty.
Correct. But
Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, you backtrack on some shit that was said years ago. Okay, fair enough, but people change. People's opinions change, their views change. They correct. I'm not a fan of holding people accountable for what they did 10 years ago. I've never have been. I probably never will be. But it makes the most sense. The Briscoes are the most Ring of Honor type wrestlers that you can embody.
They literally are Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I mean, their send-off at Supercard with FTR was perfect. I mean, because we didn't know what the future had in store for them at that point. There's no one else out there. So for Tony Khan to say, okay, I want to make Ring of Honor its own brand, yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's about time. I'm happy they're signed there. I'm happy they're going to be part of that. And however this plays out, do they get a weekly show for Ring of Honor? Is it just going to be, whatever
part of HBO Max?
Yeah, however it's going to play out, the Briscoes needed to be part of it. Yep. You want to have credibility for the Ring of Honor name. There's a handful of guys that you have to have, and they have them. They have
they pretty much have everybody.
At this point, I think they have everybody, because even the pieces that wouldn't be full time, a Bryan Danielson, a CM Punk, you have Samoa Joe, you have Jay Lethal, you have Jonathan Gresham.
Yep.
You have so many names that are synonymous with the past 20 years of Ring of Honor. The only piece missing was really the Briscoes, and now, if it's official that the Briscoes are part of Ring of Honor, I mean, it's good. I mean, there's still, don't get me wrong, there's still a few out there that I would love to see. Matt Taven, especially in the last 5 years.
Dalton Castle, I think I would love for him.
Dalton Castle, exactly. Who's been featured? He wrestled Gresham, right?
Yeah, Battle of the Belts, I believe.
Battle of the Belts. He is on the card this weekend, which we'll touch on in a minute here, which is really good.
Yeah.
So, there's some names that are just like you need to have, but I think the one glaring omission was always the Briscoes, and now that they're in the fold, I think they're ready to really launch Ring of Honor as its own brand again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping for the best.
And they also got a few guys like we'll talk about the pure title match with Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia a little bit. Those are guys that I think back in that, if you put them back in the heyday Ring of Honor, I think they could have, done something. So I think it's kind of a combination of the old guard and the, new talent coming in that would fit in. I mean, we always talk about how CM Punk, could have been really big in the original ECW.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. I think we're seeing that, we're going to start seeing that with guys like Yuda and Garcia. But yeah, let's get into it. We're kind of going, we don't want to go too long tonight and stuff. So we're going to just go right into it. And you just mentioned one of the names in this first match here. It's this was just announced. I want to say at last night at Dynamite. And I'm honestly was really shocked because I didn't know if they were going to keep the 6-man tag team titles. We got the Righteous going up against Dalton Castle and his boys, and talk. What do you think?
Huge addition. That was one of the things of Dynamite that caught me off guard, was seeing that graphic pop up.
I popped
just announced. I know I saw you in the group chat last night. And it was like just announced, like breaking news. And I was like, wow, okay. The Righteous, you're the last 6-man tag champs for Ring of Honor, coming back as the champs. I love it. Am I a huge fan that it's Dalton Castle and the boys? No. But I get it because there's been so much talk about AEW's trios titles. Right. We've been talking about this for so long. It's like kind of like the not so secret that's out there. So I like having the ROH, 6-man tag titles come in ahead of the AEW trios belts, because that can set up things down the line.
It gives people who are maybe new to Ring of Honor or are newer fans or something, maybe what to expect in this type of division, I think.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a good test for these AEW fans that really don't know or haven't followed Ring of Honor, that are new to it, that'll be watching, because there are some AEW stars on the card this weekend. So it's going to give you that little bit of a taste of like what to expect down the line. I also fully expect at some point down the line, whenever you have your AEW trios champions, you're going to have your Ring of Honor 6-man tag champs. And I feel like eventually you're going to have a Ring of Honor versus AEW type scenario, where the champs versus champs type thing, I like that idea. I think it's a good idea, especially too, having a team like the Righteous, again, a very Ring of Honor faction and team. I mean, those guys were the end of original Ring of Honor before Tony purchased it, before they shut down. The Righteous, Vincent, they were having a run. Having a run, and
very Wyatt family-ish type.
Wyatt family. Vincent's very much that Manson type character. That's very hippie-ish out there, like but real dark evil type. And they were really coming together at the end of Ring of Honor, which really sucked. They had a great match at Final Battle last year.
Was Shane Taylor, right?
It was STP versus the Righteous for the 6-man titles, and it was a great match. That's what opened the card. If I recall correctly, that was the opener.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah, and it was a great match. Super cool.
Well, you were there, so you would know.
Yeah. One of the best cards I went to that had an opener that really set the tone for the night. And STP. Talk about another guy who needs to sign Tony Khan needs to sign a Ring of Honor.
Yes,
Shane Taylor needs to come to Ring of Honor. I would love to see that. I know he's out working independence. He's doing his thing right now, and I love Shane Taylor. Had one of the best TV title runs of Ring of Honor of the past, I would say 5 to 10 years. Fantastic, hands down. I love STP. I know we got Kahn. He's part of Tully Blanchard's group now. But I mean, having Shane Taylor would be great. But yeah, the Righteous, they really were just coming into their own, and then Ring of Honor was just going
their
out.
Their theme song is also a banger.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's real. Oh, it just sets the tone for the match, for what they're gonna do. So I'm happy about that match. I am, and it's good because it's Dalton Castle and the boys. It's an ROH flavored match.
That's an entrance. That is an entrance.
Oh, for sure. I'm actually anxious to see that. But that sets a real good Ring of Honor tone for it. Yeah. Because there are some complaints. I know a lot of the Ring of Honor faithful fans have complaints about this card and some of the matches and people featured on them, but that's a good Ring of Honor tone for this card. I wouldn't be surprised if that actually opens the show, to be honest with you, this Saturday.
I think I know they're doing like a pre-show or a kickoff show, I believe. And yeah, I think this match was supposed to be, I'm not sure, but yeah, whatever. I think the first one, because it's going to kind of, like you said, it's going to be a nice, welcome back for like the Ring of Honor fans like you. And then it's going to be a nice introduction for, to Ring of Honor for maybe someone who has not followed Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I agree.
And one of the things that I kind of pop for this, and it kind of makes me wonder, because Vincent, was part of the Honor No More group in Impact. So I don't know if he's doing, double duty still or what, but we talked about like Matt Taven and Mike Bennett and, all these other guys that went to Impact and stuff. But it's a nice thing. I think it's going to be a fun way to kick off the show. And I mean, you got to keep the titles on the Righteous. I don't know if you would agree or not.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. I want to see him pick up where their run ended last December.
Yep.
So I think it'd just be a great welcome for them, especially too if they all can be part of Ring of Honor moving forward.
Right. All right. So we got another match that I believe is going to be, and this is for sure going to be on the 0 Hour. It's what it's called, and this should be a fun one. We have Allison Kay, former NWA Women's World Champion, going up against Willow Nightingale, who I believe, correct me if I am wrong, but I believe he was the one that lost to Roxy, and when they were in the finals of the women's tournament, correct? Or no? Correct. I think they wrestled that final battle because it was someone else. That was what it was. It was the final battle, I believe.
Yeah, it was the last women's title match for Ring of Honor. And man, the crowd was so hot for Willow.
Yeah,
when she took the loss to Roxy, and Roxy was very over too. Don't get me wrong, but that crowd was so behind Willow, and her sporadic pop-ups in AEW now is becoming a little bit more frequent. So I'd love to see her go exclusive with Ring of Honor, be part of that Ring of Honor women's division.
Yep.
I think this is actually going to be a great match. I mean, I love watching Willow. Allison Kay's fantastic. Like you said, former NWA women's champion. That's going to be a real solid match.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, hopefully this means, I believe Allison Kay is still one half of the NWA women's tag team champions with Marty Bell. But I mean, just even if, I don't follow NWA that much right now, but, it's just seeing Allison Kay, because I am also a huge fan of hers and stuff. And just hopefully, that eventually she finds her way, because I think she'd be a great fit for the Ring of Honor women's division as they try to build it up.
Yeah. I mean, just two top names that are out there working independence that could come in and really kind of, I don't want to say steal the show, because this card has a lot of matches that can steal the show. But this is one that has potential for the women's division to really like turn some heads and people go, oh wow, like they can really go. So I'm anxious to see this. This is going to be a good match.
Who you got in this one?
I really want to see Willow pick up the W. I'm not gonna lie. I know she took the pinfall last night.
Yeah, she took the pinfall on Dynamite
from Jade.
Yeah.
So I want to just see her get a W. Like, you know, they're few and far between featuring in the AEW realm. So I want to see her kind of pick one up, especially to coming off that, you know, tough match against Roxy last year at Final Battle. I think I want to see that. I wouldn't be surprised though. This is kind of a pick 'em. Allison Kay can very well easily end up coming out on top in this one too.
So I think we're both going with Will here. All right, so let's get into. We got 5 more title matches here. We're going to start out with another one that we're probably going to be saying this with every match, a potential show stealer, and that is going to be for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. We got Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia. And oh my God, when this match was announced, I soiled myself, so to speak, because I'd love, and I know you and I have had many talks. I've talked with Jovanny. We talked about just how awesome the Pure division is for just professional wrestling in whole, and stuff. And I fully expect that, you know, this is going to be. Again, we'll probably be using this term a lot. Do not be surprised if this match is the show stealer, because it's proven these two can go. With this style of match, I mean, we all thought, like, when the Blackpool Combat Club was formed, we all thought that Daniel Garcia would find his way there instead of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Now, the Jericho Appreciation Society has given Daniel Garcia a chance to kind of showcase something other than his wrestling ability, which I don't think anybody that follows him will doubt. But I mean, this is going to really, I think, open the eyes of just how good Daniel Garcia is, and it's really going to even open up the eyes of more people how good Wheeler is. What are your thoughts? Or who do you think is going to take this?
Yeah, I felt the same way. So number one, I know we talked about this in our mid-year awards. Wheeler's a guy who's having a year too. Garcia on the flip side of that, I think I said that last year. Garcia was having an amazing year last year.
Yeah.
From every match he had was just an absolute classic. So these two, like, going at it, Pure rules, they can both do that. It's going to be a fantastic match. This is going to be probably, this is up there for, you know, stealing the show type match. Garcia was the guy who I thought they would put in Blackpool, you know, right. And they went with Wheeler, which turned out to be a phenomenal choice in itself.
Agreed.
But either one of these guys are fit for like that Blackpool style. They're both fit for the Pure division. They both can go. They both can have really, really great matches. And then you add in just sprinkle in the Pure division rules, you know, with the rope breaks, and, you know, just if there's so many like nuanced things about it.
There's no punches. There's
you can't do the closed fist, and they're very, very specific. You can get DQ'd. You can finish this match by getting, like, you know, DQ'd for specific reasons. I love that. It's just a great aspect to have for these two guys specifically. This is going to be a good showcase for the Pure division. They're two guys that I think are just going to tear it down on Saturday night.
And who do you think walks away with the Pure Championship?
I think Wheeler's going to retain, just on the fact that having some titles in Blackpool right now. You got Mox carrying the interim AEW title. You have Wheeler carrying the Pure title because we don't know when Danielson's coming back.
Right.
Or my other thought to that was, I'm high on Wheeler retaining, but my other thought is, if Garcia wins, he wins the Pure title, and Danielson comes back, and having Danielson at the next Ring of Honor event against Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia for the pure title. I think that would be a huge match.
Oh my God, you're giving me I'm about ready to keel over and have a heart attack.
But it's true.
Orgasmic bliss type heart attacks.
So I always like to look at a little bit of fantasy booking of when I make a prediction. What would be the next steps if I had to pencil, where would my next steps be, knowing that Danielson's probably going to come back, having Danielson come back and challenge for a Ring of Honor title after he hasn't been in Ring of Honor since 2000 and God knows when. I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad if Wheeler retains though, because I like having the pure title on Wheeler. He's getting some shine. He obviously isn't the biggest name in Blackpool, right? You got Moxley, you got Danielson, you have Claudio, and you have even William Regal. Okay, yep. So obviously Wheeler Yuta is lower down the totem pole just because he's got legendary names in his group ahead of him. Not a slight on Wheeler at all. So having that pure title on him just gives that extra to him where, he can definitely hang with these guys. He's carrying the Ring of Honor pure title. Oh, he fits in with this group. Like that was just a little bit of an extra bump. I don't like to say it that the man makes the title doesn't make the man. In this case, the title does help solidify his place amongst absolute beasts in his group, Yeah.
This match is probably, out of anything else on the card, I've probably been going back and forth on the most. And again, it's either way, I think we win.
For sure.
But I like what you said about the title making the man, and I think that's what it does for Wheeler. I don't think Garcia really needs it right now. I think, and for that reason alone, I feel like I'm gonna go with Wheeler to retain, but I think it's gonna be he's gonna catch him in something. Like it's not gonna be very decisive. It's gonna be almost a fluke victory, he just got him.
Yeah, I agree. Like the pinning combination that Wheeler hit on was it on Chuck right last night?
So yes.
Yeah, great finish to that match. I actually loved the finish because it wasn't a real your typical big finishing maneuver. It was a real intricate type pinfall that kind of caught Chuck, for a 3 count. Chuck doesn't look bad after taking that pin, that's the kind of pin that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see Wheeler do. So I think you're right. If Wheeler retains, I think it's going to be something similar to that scenario where Garcia gets up and he's he's still in the match, but he just got caught.
Yeah,
I like that. But yeah, for Wheeler to have that, for Wheeler to have that extra shine from the title to kind of be like, hey, I'm running with these guys now. I can carry my own. This is what I have. I think that's just a great setup for him, and it helps build him to where in the future he doesn't need a title. In the future, he's just a guy who's he's part of Blackpool. He doesn't need a title belt because he's a legit badass now.
Right. All right. So speaking of badasses, we're going to move on to our next title match. And again, it's going to be a show stealer. Again, that's going to be a recurring theme throughout the rest of this show. We got for the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, we got the champion Mercedes Martinez defending against Serena Deeb. Wow. I mean, you want to talk someone who's, I think, more specific, when it comes to women and Ring of Honor. To me, you can't get more Ring of Honor than Serena Deeb. Just their style and everything. I think she's tailor-made for this division. Obviously, Mercedes Martinez. It's nice to see her, having a little bit of a resurgence in her career with this championship and stuff. And I mean, good for her. And I mean, she's done great. I mean, she unseated Deonna Purrazzo, who at one time was probably widely considered to be the best women's wrestler on the planet, and she's still up there. But Mercedes had, got her and has the belt. And this match here for me is just, again, just why I'm so excited about the future of Ring of Honor and just the foresight of Tony Khan to treat it like its own brand and give Ring of Honor, a chance to shine on its own. And, he's not going the Vince McMahon way, just going out of his way to bury it or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be another really good match. But for this one, I think she's due for a championship run finally. And like I said, for what I just said about, I don't think there's being, when it comes to women's wrestlers, that there isn't anyone whose style is better suited for Ring of Honor than Serena Deeb. I think she takes it here, and I think we have a new women's champion.
I 100% agree. I think Mercedes Martinez being the Ring of Honor women's champ is good. But you know me. Like, put that title on a true heel and let them just run. And look at what we talked about earlier. We talked about Allison Kay, Willow. Now we have Mercedes Martinez and Serena Deeb. Yep. 4 women that could absolutely build the entire Ring of Honor women's division into something that could be. I know we've spoken so highly of the Impact women's division.
It's already better than both the women's division and all of WWE.
Yeah, I mean, outside of your absolute top tier names, I mean this core 4 right here. Whew, you have the potential to absolutely strike gold. This match, I think, is going to be a great match. I 100% think Serena Deeb, this is her time. They're going to put the title on her. It wasn't her time with Thunder Rosa for the AEW women's title. Just, I know, I think they want to keep that title on Thunder Rosa because they're really they try to market her really well. And I don't think having Serena Deeb as the AEW women's champ, especially coming off of Britt Baker being such a great heel women's champion for AEW that she was. But Serena Deeb is a Ring of Honor women's champion, having a great heel run as a champ. Whew, that's so good. And building a women's division around these 4 that we've talked about tonight so far.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you have the AEW factor. You have a lot of women in this AEW roster that can work into that Ring of Honor and work with this core 4 from Ring of Honor. And they could build such a crazy good division. You have 2 women's titles in AEW right now, right?
Yeah.
You have the TBS title, you have the AEW women's title.
Yep.
And you have a lot of women on their roster. But this 4, and I would say this, take these 4 and then take like Hikaru Shida. Okay.
He'd be a really good fit in Ring of Honor.
Because she's one who I enjoy watching, but I never really truly feel she fits in the AEW women's division. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Put her in the Ring of Honor women's division.
Put Jamie Hayter in the Ring of Honor women's division.
Jamie Hayter, even like Chris Statlander. I mean, Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander in the Ring of Honor women's division. Now you're up to what, 7 women?
And all 7 of them you could buy as a legit champion for their women's Ring of Honor.
And you could go back and forth. You can build strong feuds. You can build a Ring of Honor women's division right there. That gives time for, somebody. I know they're really building Jade. I'm not super sold on her. I'm not high on her, but take your time and build Jade. Keep her in the TBS title. You have Athena now. You have that feud building. You have Thunder Rosa. I know Britt Baker just came back last night on TV again. You have a lot of stuff happening in AEW, but this Ring of Honor women's division, this match, I think, is really going to take it. I want to see Serena Deeb win that title. I want to see a good heel title run from her.
Right. All right. So we got 3 more matches here to go. We're going to go next to a match that has basically been building since Supercard of Honor, which at the end of the show saw the surprise return of Samoa Joe to Ring of Honor. That is Samoa Joe defending the Ring of Honor World Television Championship against former Ring of Honor television champion and former Ring of Honor World Heavyweight champion Jay Lethal. Oh man, this match has really had, probably out of any of the matches on this card, it's probably had the longest and the longest build to it.
Yeah.
And it's been week after week, with Jay Lethal calling out Samoa Joe for not showing up to work, which, if I'm not mistaken, Joe's been doing some movie work and I think some voice acting work or something like that and stuff. So it should be a really good match. And if I'm not mistaken, they're billing this as the student versus the teacher, because it wasn't Jay Lethal one of Samoa Joe's students.
I think so.
So this should be really good. This alone, this match alone, if it was just these two, would be really good. But obviously, with the inclusion of Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh, it kind of has me worried a little bit, because Jay Lethal, heel or face, is great on his own and stuff.
Yeah.
And that, but what are your thoughts? Like, who do you think's taking this?
Oh, this is a tough one. Like you said, Samoa Joe has been out a little while. He's been doing some work elsewhere. But I agree with you 100%. At face value, Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal doesn't need any outside. You don't need Sanjay Dutt. You don't need Satnam Singh. You don't need any of this other nonsense happening. Just a straight match between Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal is worthy of itself for the ROH TV title. I mean that, and yeah, you talk about two other guys who made a career in Ring of Honor and are synonymous with that. I know both of them had a lot of time, TNA, Impact, but realistically, to me, they're two names that go hand in hand with Ring of Honor.
Absolutely.
And really define two generations of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I like that. I really, really, really like that. It's, I mean, to give it a comparison, it's like what it would be to me, like Jonathan Gresham versus Bryan Danielson for the ROH world title, right? Two guys who define two different generations of Ring of Honor. Going at it and having a real classic technical match. And this is that for me. Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal, two guys who define two different generations of Ring of Honor. And I love it. I'm not a fan of the extra stuff. I'm not a fan of, Jay Lethal with Sanjay and Satnam, but as a match just alone, yeah, this is another one that's going to be great. I really, really think, though, they're probably going to put the title on Jay Lethal. Because, they made it very clear Samoa Joe is signed with All Elite. He's not just Ring of Honor, but he's going to do both. And I think overall, having the title on Jay Lethal, it opens up Samoa Joe to get back into the AEW realm.
Yep.
And really challenge in there. I mean, will we not want to see Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the TNT title? I mean, that would be great.
That'd be a fight.
Right. And there's a lot of open things for that. So I'm leaning towards Jay Lethal getting the win, getting the title, and moving forward. And I think we're going to see Samoa Joe kind of lean back towards the AEW side of Tony Khan world.
I'm going to basically just copy and paste exactly what you said, and because I agree, I think the Lethal gets the title. Like I said, Samoa Joe kind of gets more towards the AEW side of things, and like I said, Jay Lethal is so ironic. Just so you see a lot of this, like when the Ring of Honor announced that they were going on hiatus after Final Battle last year, they basically said, all these guys are open to sign wherever, and stuff. And I believe Jay Lethal was like one of the first guys that like went and signed, and he came to AEW, and it's just kind of ironic, 8 months later, he's back in Ring of Honor, and
Yep.
and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think Lethal takes it and stuff. So, all right, so we got 2 more matches here, and these are 2. Well, this next one is going to be an absolute banger. I think we already know that just based on the first match, and that is 2 out of 3 falls. FTR versus the Briscoes. We're going running a little longer than I think we had anticipated. So let's just kind of get right into it. Does this go 3 falls?
Yes. Oh, I think it has to, without a doubt. Based off of the first match alone, this has to go all 3 falls. We're going to split them. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 40-minute match.
Oh, easily. I could see this going like 40, 45 minutes.
Yeah. Just based on the work rate of both teams, you have such a great story built. We already talked about, FTR's promo last night. The Briscoes now officially being back with Ring of Honor.
Yes.
This is gonna, and that's why it's so hard, because there's so many matches that we say could steal the show, but the reality is this: after what these guys just did at Supercard back in April, do you have any doubt that they're not going to put on an absolute classic in this one? 2 out of 3 falls again. I mean, come on, it's hard to doubt that. The pick, though, is very tough. I want to say FTR because they are having the absolute run of a year. They're collecting all the titles. The only thing missing right now from them is the AEW title, right?
Right.
But what better way to bring the Briscoes back? You announce them that they're signed with Ring of Honor. The Briscoes come back. They split it, and that leads to the rubber match somewhere down the line. And what do we do for the rubber match? FTR won the titles the first time around. Do the Briscoes take the titles the second time around? And that leads us to, let's say, Final Battle this year. If they do Final Battle this year, I don't know. But if we build up to Final Battle and you have an absolute, you have a cage match, or you have something that really kind of just gives that this is the final meeting.
I have the match that I think be the perfect way to cap off this feud.
Okay.
You have a 60-minute Iron Man match between these 2 teams.
Man, that's and they can do it. They can do it. Those are 4 guys that could absolutely do it.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure a lot of the AEW fans probably don't realize, or don't know. They know more FTR than they know the Briscoes. But Jesus, that would be just unbelievable. And I think we'll tear the house down. So I'm actually leaning towards the Briscoes possibly winning the Ring of Honor titles back to set up that 3rd match. If you don't split the first 2, what's the point of going into number 2? So
I'm inclined to agree with you and that, but if it wasn't for this belt collecting thing, but if what's being set out,
hold tight. There's one more factor in that.
What's that?
Go back to the finish at Supercard. The little talked about thing was post match, the Young Bucks come out and take out the Briscoes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so. Do we get the Briscoes winning the ROH titles and the Bucks coming out now that they dropped the AEW titles, which was a big shock to a lot of people that they dropped it to Keith Lee and Swerve? Do we get the Bucks Briscoes next for the titles? And then down the line, do we see how about that? A triple threat. Young Bucks, Briscoes, and FTR for the Ring of Honor title somewhere down the line. So to me, again, I take my picks based off of fantasy booking where I want to see it go. Do I like to see? I would love to see that. I mean, 3 teams, 3 of the best teams between AEW and Ring of Honor. I just fantasy booked the shit out of myself here, but it's
what you're calling it nowadays.
No, I mean, come on, that would be killer. you have the instant setup between the rubber match between FTR and the Briscoes 1-on-1. You have a setup between the Briscoes and the Young Bucks for the Ring of Honor titles. You have a triple threat that could happen between FTR, the Briscoes, and the Young Bucks. You have a lot of possibilities if the Briscoes win. But if FTR wins and retains those titles, I'm not going to say you paint yourself into a corner, but it makes it a little bit more difficult. There's some more moving parts to it that have to happen.
You know, and if I knew that, because what I've been seeing lately online, and obviously not everything you see on the internet is true, despite what people like Dave Meltzer and Sean Ross Sapp and his, Fightful Select want you to think. There's talks that the AEW tag titles really aren't in the plans for FTR, at least, unifying everything, which could explain why the Bucks dropped the tag titles to Swerve and Keith Lee. I so want to see the Briscoes win this for the reasons you said, but just for some reason, I feel like the FTR is just on such a rocket ship right now that's still got plenty of fuel left in it. And I just think that I think they retain.
So that's the other thing. I think too, if the Briscoes do win, I think you're going to see some fuckery from the Young Bucks. I think the Bucks come out, and based off of what happened at Supercard, I think the Bucks are going to go after the Briscoes again, and they're going to swerve. They're going to take out FTR, cost them the titles, and then go for the Briscoes for the titles. That can happen. I wouldn't be shocked to see it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But I just you could basically toss a coin in this match and stuff. But I just feel like I think FTR's. I think they retain.
The only thing we're guaranteed is this is probably going to be match of the night.
Yep. So, all right. So we got one more match here because I know you want to get. You're getting ready to call the night, and I know I am too. As soon as we're done recording, we got the main event of the evening for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. Another show stealer here. We got the champ Jonathan Gresham defending against Claudio Castagnoli, and I believe this was originally supposed to be how Claudio showed up. Like, Forbidden Door just happened because of the injury to Danielson, but
yes.
I believe that this is where Claudio was supposed to show up and return. And he comes in, he confronts Gresham after Gresham beat Lee Moriarty on Rampage about a week or so ago to set this up. And this is going to be what you would call a technical masterpiece, and that two of the best technical wrestlers in the world. And I don't want to say that it's a foregone conclusion that Claudio is going to win, because it's not. But I mean, as hot as he is right now, I mean, I'll just come right out and say it. I just don't see how he doesn't end the night as Ring of Honor champion.
Man. This match, especially the build up on how they've really marketed this match, I think I love it. Claudio is the technical ability, but also the size and the power, the ridiculous strength that everybody knows about. Everybody that watched him in WWE, how strong and powerful he is, but he's also a great technical wrestler. Gresham, I mean, outside of Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr., is probably the best technical wrestler in the world right now. Gresham also had the heel turn. Claudio is also the face. I think Gresham retains the title.
Ooh.
I think Gresham retains the title, but we don't get the technical Gresham that we're all expecting.
Okay.
I think with the recent heel turn, the Tully Blanchard Enterprises aligning and being part of that group, I think you get some interference. I think Gresham retains. They already teased it. They already teased it with the match against Moriarty.
Mm-hmm.
Gresham went from this amazing technical wrestler to now relying on his new faction. And I think this is where you build the new version of the foundation. So to me, and which would be great, because to me, and I think I said this before when we talked about the Zack Sabre Jr. match at Forbidden Door, where if we saw Zack Sabre Jr. get the win over Claudio, that shows like, oh, I beat your guy from Blackpool, and it was supposed to be Danielson. So now I want Danielson next. Now we didn't get that because we got Claudio with the win, right?
Yep.
But I could see that with Gresham though, because now you have Gresham goes out there, they kind of a little outside interference, a little cheating to win, get the W over Claudio, and now you set up the match against Danielson on his return.
Mm.
They screwed one of the Blackpool guys over. It's not because it's not going to be Mox. It's not going to be Wheeler because Wheeler's doing the pure division thing for Ring of Honor. And it's not going to be Mox because that's really not Mox's trajectory. I mean, and they're talking about most likely it's going to be Mox and CM Punk it all out. If they're saying the rumor is that Punk's very, very close to returning. So we might see that. I think this is a good setup for Gresham versus Danielson for the Ring of Honor World Title.
I like that. I really, really like that.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have Claudio, who's another guy who can go in, and let's say Lethal wins the TV title from Samoa Joe. You could set up Claudio versus
Jay
Lethal. You could even have Claudio versus Wardlow because Claudio can really go against anybody. And now you have a faction that has all these titles. You have Wheeler with the pure title. You have Claudio. Let's just say he ends up with the Ring of Honor, TV title. You could have Danielson finally being the guy to dethrone Gresham for the Ring of Honor World Title, and you have Mox still carrying the interim title. And what if he goes over Punk and he's the AEW champion? There's a lot of possibility on that. But yeah. I don't think Claudio's the guy. I think this is a great way to set up having that dream match a lot of people have with Danielson versus Gresham. I'm taking Gresham.
You know what? I'm gonna do a flip here. I'm gonna actually double down on you with that. I think and a lot of people probably view this as an upset because it seems like it's a foregone conclusion that Claudio is going to win. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just the thing you laid out. You know what? I'm gonna switch my pick. I'm going with Gresham to retain as well too.
Mm-hmm. The other thing too, I look at this is the thing with Claudio is he's brought in another guy like Samoa Joe, who's Claudio's all elite. There's more for him to do in the AEW side. Keep the title on Gresham, build with him as their champ. They brought him in as the champ. So let's build with him a little bit more. Let's see where the whole Tully Blanchard Enterprises goes, as where that faction goes and how that builds. I just think Gresham's the guy, especially with the recent heel turn, with what we've seen with him and Tully Blanchard kind of screwing Moriarty over. I can definitely, and again, here's another tie-in. Lee Moriarty is another guy that was looked at that could potentially be in Blackpool.
Yep.
So I just feel like, this is Gresham's time where he's going to get a good heel run, keep the title on him, give Claudio the screw job finish as opposed to a clean finish. So it keeps Claudio strong and could potentially set up what I think a lot of Ring of Honor fans and a lot of fans in general want to see is Jonathan Gresham versus Bryan Danielson. I know Gresham wants it because he made it very clear at Supercard.
Yeah.
I mean, he even mentioned it at Final Battle after he won the title. when he said that. What he said? There's a couple guys out there that claim they're the best in the world,
Right.
and obviously alluding to Danielson and Punk at that point, and I want to fight those guys.
Yeah.
I can very well see Danielson coming back from injury and having just an absolute classic. Talk about it. Talk about a 60-minute Iron Man match between Gresham and Danielson.
Yeah.
I'd pay top dollar to watch that match.
Yeah. So, all right. So that wraps it up here. Before we call tonight, Joey K, why don't we let the viewers know about how the fight went?
Absolutely. So last Saturday night, Newtown, PA, my sister was in her MMA fight. Christine went 3 rounds, went to a decision, lost a tough decision on it. Am I biased? Probably a little bit. I thought she had some really, really great moments. She had some really great spots in there. She got a little busted open, caught a good cut right above her left eye, so she got busted open a little bit more than her opponent. The look of the cut really looks like she got caught with an edge of a glove more than anything. But she had a great performance, went all 3 rounds, real tough, hard fight, and good enough for the entire card that her and her opponent actually took home fight of the night for that night too. So even in the loss, thank you. And even in the loss, she had a really great performance. She really came a long way. They did like a post-fight press conference, and they were talking to her, and they even mentioned to her that, like, you've really come a long way from your last time in the cage with us. Your game's really evolved and stepped up. She's gotten better with her striking. She's got, progressed a lot further. And she got a nice little bonus from that, which was pretty cool. So I'm very proud of her, very happy for that. But she's probably going to be taking a little bit of time off right now from her next fight. I know she's I know she wants to get back in there again. Yeah. She always does right after a fight. She wants to just get back in there because now it's like, I had a chance here, I had a chance there. She really starts to analyze it. So, but very proud of her. She had a great performance, a great fight. Her opponent was really good. Her opponent was actually a very, very long striker. Had a lot of reach, had some height on my sister as well too. So she had a few problems, like trying to close the distance and dealing with that reach and height a little bit. But when she got in there, she landed plenty of clean shots. She landed really well. Ate some really good shots and just kept pushing forward too, which was really great. So a good overall night. Didn't get the W like she wanted, but still had a great performance. Ended up with fight of the night. So hopefully sometime in the near future she'll be back again. I know she's going to keep training, but my niece is starting kindergarten this year, and I know she wants to take a little bit of time off instead of just training for the next fight to kind of like have that in the mix too. She's a mom, so she's doing the single mom, so she's doing the single mom thing too, where she wants to take care of her daughter, and she is a great mom too. So we'll see where she goes next. Hopefully maybe the end of this year or sometime early next year she'll be back in the cage again, and if she is, going for that W again, see what happens.
And look for that shooting shit logo somewhere on her attire, because we will most likely be sponsoring her again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She was really. It was actually a pretty big logo too.
It was very prominently featured.
Yeah, right on the left side of her shorts, real big. Our shooting shit logo was on there, which I was pretty stoked. I was like, oh man, I was like, I didn't know we were getting a big logo, but all right, cool. I'm down for it. So yeah, that was definitely cool. But she had a good night. She was feeling good. Like I said, little bummed the decision didn't go her way, but you win or you learn. So that's how we always look at it. And she definitely is going to take away some stuff that she learned from that fight, come back better next time.
That's awesome. So, well, we went way longer than I think we had originally planned and stuff, but that's just because the conversation was that damn good and stuff. So,
yeah.
So thanks again, everybody, for listening. Again, if we'll be waiting for that SOS or whatever from Jovanny there, just
firing off those flares.
Yeah. Firing off those flares, make sure, and I don't think he has to worry about basically where he's at, but just stay away from them icebergs.
Jesus, he ain't anywhere where there's icebergs. I'll tell you that.
No, he's right where there's Pina Coladas and all that stuff. But no, enjoy the rest of your vacation, Jovanny. We'll see you next week. And again, teaser for a little bit next week to kind of get you guys interested in watching. Jovanny's sporting a little bit of a new look, so if you wanna see what we've already seen, especially the ladies.
I'm still not used to it. I'm not used to it.
Neither am I. but ladies and everybody, just tune into next week for the show. And from I can't do the elaborate outro that Jovanny does talking about the guys and the
guys in catering, the ladies in accounting.
Yeah, the ladies in accounting. As always, thank you to John Scott and the Johners Podcasting Network for having us as part of the group. Lots of great shows on there and stuff. But I think we said all that about that we're going to say, because I think we're both about ready to call it a night. So we're going to call it a night and tell everybody out there, good night. Do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow the show on Twitter at SHOOTINSHT, and thanks for listening.